I miss it.
Every now and then.
Okay, will you please stand and join me for the flag salute and remain standing for the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bless us, Lord, as we gather today for this freeholder meeting. Guide our minds and our hearts, and we may work together for the good of our community. Help us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in the face of difficulty, and wise in our decisions. Amen.
Amen.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, this is to announce that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. Also, pursuant to the 2015 bylaws, rules, and regulations of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Burlington, time shall be set aside on the agenda for the receipt of public comments. Public comments will be received with respect to agenda items prior to board consideration of resolutions to be adopted. An additional opportunity for public comment will occur later in the meeting. Public comment shall be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Unused time may not be transferred to another speaker. Persons may speak once per public comment period. I direct the deputy clerk to enter into the minutes of this meeting this public announcement and the advance written notice of this meeting. Freeholder Belgard.
Here.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Here.
Freeholder Gardano.
Present.
Freeholder Schwartz. Here. Director O'Brien.
Here. Now I'll be looking for approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of March 11th, 2015, and the conference meeting of February 25th, 2015. So moved. Motion by Freeholder Belgard. Second by Freeholder Donnelly. Questions? Additions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? I need to abstain with regard to the minutes of February 25th, 2015. Okay, now we'll move on to public comments on agenda items. At this point of the meeting, we'll have public comment, but it's limited to those items that are on the agenda. Anyone who wishes to speak on any other topic will have a chance later in the public comments section of the meeting. So do we have any public comments on agenda items? I'll start with Michael Tan. Michael Tan?
To the public portion.
Okay, public. Michael Soletto?
Close, Gilletta,
Okay, very good.
on the other end.
Okay, very good.
Please.
Charlene Weiss?
Public.
Kelly Gadala?
Public.
Dan?
Hainsborough.
Yeah, from Hainsborough?
Hainsborough, Weaver. Public.
Okay, what is your last name?
Weaver.
Weaver?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry for my handwriting.
That's all right, that's fine. So that'll be for later. Okay, and Ramesh Patel?
Public.
Public? All right, very good. Thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else who may have some public comment on agenda items? Okay. At this point, then, I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution G1. Do I have a second? Second by Freeholder Donnelly. At this point, I'll ask for a roll call.
Freeholder Belgard.
Yes.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Yes.
Freeholder Gardano.
Yes.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes.
Director O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, now I'd like to make a motion to approve items G2 through G18 by unanimous consent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Donnelly. Are there any questions on 2-3?
Mr. Troy, a couple questions on the bill list tonight. First, on page, I have a couple recusals too. On page 13, I need to recuse myself relating to the Burlington County Bar Association. On page 16, I need to recuse myself relating to the Camden County College. My first question is on page 31. There's a bill for $17,690 for Entrust Worldwide Headquarters. Can you tell me what that is?
This is paid for a support plan for IT.
So what was that support?
It's for our website for a secure socket layer for our employee portal and anything that's sensitive, it encrypts the data. So that's what that's for. We have 7 certificates throughout the website.
Next is page 35. Harry F. Renwick Jr. and Associates. There's a fee there for $8,000 and indicates administration discretionary funds. What's that?
Sorry, what?
On page 35.
35.
Bottom 34.
Oh, sorry. I'm just messing with you.
Really?
Keep me on your toes, yeah.
Not even only,
I hope that the rest of my pages are wrong.
this was done through legal. This was an analysis report that was done for county property.
I think that pertains to litigation.
Okay. All right. Would that be the same? There's another one on page 83, Todd and Black Inc., also $8,000.
Yes.
Page 45, Lippincott and Jacobs, $11,743.17, various capital improvements.
Freeholder, this was engineering done at Tuckerton Road in Medford Lakes.
Okay. Those are all of the questions I have.
Any other questions? I also need to recuse myself with regard to the Burlington County Bar Association and will abstain, recuse myself with regard to G15. So if there's no other questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? And abstentions as noted. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to the Freeholder Bellegarde.
Yes, at this time, I would like to make a motion for G19, and this is would allow us to enter into agreements with forensic pathologists when our chief medical examiner is not available. These individuals will step in.
Second?
Motion by Freeholder Bellegarde, second by Freeholder Donnelly. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, any questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Freeholder Donnelly.
Thank you, Director. At this time, I will move the unanimous consent of resolution items number G20 through G22.
Motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second by
Second.
Freeholder Bellegarde. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Deputy Director Gargano.
Is that all right, Kendall? Yes.
Okay.
Director, at this time, I will move for unanimous consent of resolution items number G23 through G29.
Motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Schwartz. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ayes have it. Freeholder Schwartz.
At this time, I'd like to move for unanimous consent on the G30 and G31.
Second?
Okay, motion by Freeholder Schwartz, second by Freeholder Donnelly. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, ayes have it. Okay, at this point, we'll be entertaining nominations and election of a new county administrator to a 3-year term effective April 13, 2015, beginning at the current administrator's salary. I nominate Eve Cullinan. Do we we have any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, I declare the nominations closed. Please vote by name on roll call.
Freeholder Belgard.
Eve Cullen.
Freeholder Donnelly.
Eve Cullen.
Freeholder Gargano.
Eve Cullen.
Freeholder Schwartz.
Eve Cullen.
Director O'Brien.
Eve Cullinan.
Congratulations.
At this point, I'll be making appointments by the director to our Workforce Investment Board. The names are Tom Van Kessel, Paul Drayton as president of Burlington County College, Dr. Chris Mano as superintendent of BCIT and Burlington County Special Services School District, Todd Flora as county superintendent of schools, Stacy Smith as manager of local vocational rehabilitation. Next, we'll move on to questions from the press. Are there any questions from the press?
She's not here.
Okay. Then we can move on to public comments. I will refer to the list of names in the same order. So we start with Michael Tam. Mr. Tam?
Yes. I'm here tonight, I was here 2.5 years ago, 2 or 3 years back. And the subject is Potter's Field. It's a county-owned cemetery that I think has been in operation since 1801. And it's in deplorable condition. There's no dignity to it at all. And the Burlington Township Historic Trust would like to work with the county in restoring it and making it presentable for the future, present, and the future. From 1921 to 1933, there was 101 buried here that we have records of. There was probably another 20 that we could not read the records. But that's only one period of 21 to 34. But if you look at the whole thing from 1801 on, they were buried from the poorhouse. The first poorhouse in the state was built by the county of Burlington in 1801. And that is at New Lisbon on Permanent Browns Mills Road near Burlington County College. Matter of fact, Burlington County College is part of the initial 500 acres that was purchased back then. And they farmed it. And the ones that passed away at that time from the poorhouse were buried there. Besides anybody in the county that they found. Back then, they didn't know the names of people. You're far apart, nobody, and they picked up somebody. And at times, families didn't want to claim bodies because then they'd have to pay to bury them. So the county ended up burying them. And there's been burials right up until recently in there, maybe one a year or one every couple of years or so on. But I estimate that there has to be close to 250 in there. There's only one monument there, maybe about 2 foot by about 18 inches high, and it just recognizes the ones that were buried there from 1904 to 1974. The markers there, there's very few. There's small stones, a few small stones. Originally, they had wooden markers. Then I think in the 20s, I think they used a bronze marker with removable letters that you would put in there. Well, that didn't last long. I think during World War II, that stopped with it. The ground is uneven because back then you didn't need containers, concrete containers back then, all the way up until I think the 50s or 60s when we passed the law for it. But I'm here tonight and I have a handout for you. It gives maps, it gives some of the history, and we'd like to get together with the county to work on it, come up with a proposal, and come back before the board to approve it, what will be done, how it's going to be done, and if there's any cost involved. We feel the majority of it could be done with volunteers and very little cost. Right now, people ride right by it and they don't know what it is. And it's almost 5 acres, 5.2 acres. So there's tax maps in here showing it. There's an 1876 map that shows the graveyard in here. There's an aerial in here, and there's about 4 pages that will explain something about it. So if the freeholders are interested, the Permanent Township Historic Trust will work along with them to do this as basically as a volunteer project and solicit some donations, whatever's needed. And also, it has no name. There's no designation on that old, there's no number out front, there is nothing. And possibly it might be named Burlington County Cemetery. It's not listed on state records because it doesn't come under state registration because you don't charge. It's not a private cemetery. So the state does not have any information on it or control of it. It's strictly the county board of people. So I have that here.
Your timing is perfect. We being Eve and Dr. Hood and myself and Amy was there, just had a discussion last week in regards to that cemetery. I myself drove out there this week to try and find it, and there's like a double track road, and I figured I better not go down there and get stuck.
If you look in here, you'll find these.
No, but the way the snow is, I couldn't get across the barrier. There's snow back there. But we did have a whole discussion on that cemetery just this last week, so your timing is perfect. I would be willing to work with the trust. I have experience on the Board of Trustees of the Lisbon Developmental Center. We also have a paupers field out there. I was in charge of getting that paupers field redone. We were able, with volunteer labor, I got a volunteer landscape architect, I got trees planted. So yes, we can do it. We did it in Lisbon for free, and if you'd like to come out and tour the New Lisbon Cemetery with me, I'd like to take you and see what we did out there and see if we can duplicate it out on the county property.
There's contact number in here.
Okay.
Paul, but it's something should be done. I mean, put some dignity to it. It's just right, and it's interesting looking at the records to see what they passed away with. But there's got to be over 200 here. Now, the record used to be kept as Buttonwood Hall years ago. Vital statistics in Permanent Township has some record. But then again, they were only incorporated in 1886.
Well, I think the conclusion that we had is that there's graves out there that we don't even know where they are.
Do you know where the ones are from 1801 to 1846? There should be a New Hanover and North Hanover. But evidently, last time I tried to trace them down 15 years ago, the last time they were seen, there was someone's farm, and they don't exist anymore.
We'd love to see what you've
Here
prepared.
I have this. I have another subject too. And that's the library. You want to figure out why library hours are cut in the summer months, when the usage of many children and adults in the summertime would utilize it. So there's some libraries in the county that are run by the county. I think Brown Mills is one of them, that the summer months they're closed on Sundays, and I think on Saturdays they're closed early. Could you please consider that?
Well, we don't set the hours, but we will refer your comments to the Library Commission.
You set the money up.
We don't set they set their village.
Yeah, but they
Or
don't have
appointed
the money,
bodies.
they can't set the hours.
They set their village. They're appointed by us. The commissioners are appointed by us, but they're a quasi-autonomous organization.
Could you look into it?
We can talk to them about it.
Because you have children during the summer months, and it's the best time, give them something to do that's productive going to the library.
We'll look into it.
So I appreciate you looking into it.
Thanks so much, Mr. Tan.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you. Okay, Michael Gilletta.
Good evening, Freeholders.
Good evening.
As your ears were ringing this week, maybe you heard, we have an issue at Creek Road and Martin Highway,
Yes.
where myself and my neighbors have a couple businesses, homes. And I'd like to discuss this on a level of notices. We were not notified until Tuesday of last week. We feel it should have been 2 weeks earlier. Public service wasn't noticed. I had 2 big buses go through my parking lot. The schools were not noticed. I had school buses turning around daily, Monday, Tuesday, until somebody made a phone call today. By this, it's creating damage to our curb system, to our parking lot, which we just got repaired last September. This is creating potholes, which I've never had before. They're destroying cones. People are just riding over the cones and taking them down the street. I got tankers, tractor trailers. I have many vehicles just thinking my parking lot is their public right away. They even open the back gate. They go over the lawn. They run over Charlene's grass just to get back onto the road. This is a loss to us 2 ways. 1, property damage. 2, 11,000 cars a day, according to the engineer of Burlington, goes up 537 past my place. That's advertising. 5,000 go down Creek Road to Major Artery 295. It's also a major artery 38. By this, I lose advertising, I lose business. I lost 2 funerals this week because they couldn't get to us. It was so confusing. There's not proper signage at any of the intersections. They have a sign at Art Road that says road closed at Creek Road, which means you can go down the Creek Road and make a left. You can't get one past my sign, so they turn over the curb. We understand that we're in a decaying area in Rampocas Woods. We have shops that are closed. I asked for townships out. I sent letters to Burlington County Freeholders years ago to try to make that a main street in Mount Laurel, to try to revise it. I had Freeholder Belvoir come down, take a walk. She can see how desolate the area has become. Nothing has been done in that area. The location is hideous right now. We have, out of 35 businesses, 26 are closed. And this makes it worse. It's only a matter of time before everybody else closes. There's no business coming down the road for a month. Now, it's going to be a month. April 13th or that week, they'll reopen it. Then they'll close it down for 2 more weeks. I realize I'm dealing with federal, with the railroad, state because of the waterways, county because of the roadways, 2 municipalities. 2 municipalities didn't know anything about it until we got on the phone to them. Nobody knew a thing, even though there were letters sent out, there was notices sent, nobody really, maybe they didn't open the letters. The bottom line here is an inconvenience to our business, a loss of revenue, and a loss of future business. We are taxpayers, we are voters. I myself, community participant, I help any kind of cause that is out there for us. I'm involved with major BMAC, I'm involved with Burlington County 200 Club. I was the chair of Red Cross of Burlington County for years. So we do have an interest in this community. And I hope that the freeholders will see an interest in us because we support you. So I hope you can support us. We are looking for some kind of loss of business revenue coming back since it was your decision to close the roads with the help of Conrail and IEW. That's it. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's nice seeing you all in good health.
Mr. Rinaldo, I can assure you,
In Burlington County Times, Freeholder O'Brien,
Yes.
your person, Eric Holder, I
Yes.
think his name is,
But Eric-
had no concern, it stated that we didn't even realize the businesses were going to be affected this way. So it seemed like it wasn't even on the agenda for us.
I'm not sure, like Eric Harper is from our public information officer here. I know that there were quotes in the paper, statements made by Conrail, and they talked about, the safety concerns about the reason for the bridge, that they have to basically remove the bridge and rebuild it. It's a
I
wooden
understand that.
structure.
I played on that bridge as a kid. I fished off that area.
I'm sure. And what I would like to know, is what, how much we were concerned and what we did the best that we could, to mitigate the situation for the businesses, And, number one was Conrail wanted 3 months. We said, no, 3 weeks. That's it, 3 weeks. We insisted that there be plenty of signage, and the signage was letting everyone know that all the businesses were remaining open. We were all open.
We see that on the highway, Freehold.
That's number one, to let everyone know. It's inconvenient, yes, but everyone knows the businesses are open. So we have the time frame that was drastically reduced and minimized as much as possible. So we have we have detour signs going around to everywhere. I mean, I went out there myself, and I'm sure you can see with the size of that crane, the amount of space that
You can see it from Morristown.
Yeah, to me, it looks like a 5-story building. It's
I had a
incredible.
discussion. I know you are diligent because I did have a discussion with Freeholders Belvedere last week, and she did tell me, and I believe her, I always believe you, that you were working on this. It just, when Eric put that into the newspaper, it seemed like he had no knowledge of what's happening.
I do think you're confusing the quote from Conrail.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think there was another.
Hi, I'm Mike. I called you a couple times.
Nice to talk to you. Yeah, and I talked to a couple of you. But I do think you're confusing my quote with the quote from Conrail. Just because
Okay.
that was there was an Eric that was quoted, but it was the one from Conrail, not my quote that was in there. Just so we can, that's what they're.
Yeah, and theirs was basically,
Okay.
they had their approvals and they were going forward, and that's, we did the best that we could to minimize. We also did a reverse 911 call to residents in
We got that.
Laurel, Wilmington, Hainesport, and
Didn't stop a thing. People just kept on coming down Martin Highway.
yeah, I think they try to see, is it really happening? And if they
You had an accident the other day. You had a car flip over.
Two within an hour.
Okay. And then you had another one on my side.
And the last thing I wanted to mention, we're promoting it through the Burlington County Buy First program.
If there's some
So-
kind of
so let you know
compensation
that-
from the Freeholder Board or the county, we would appreciate it. It would help us out.
We also have our county engineer who can speak to, what's been done as well.
He doesn't get on the phone. Joe?
Joe Berkeley?
He doesn't get on the phone.
He's
I've
here.
spoken with
Joe?
Hi, Joe.
I've never received a call or a message from you. I did speak to Kelly Gonzalez, and I've been met with the lady with the hair many times. I'm very accessible, and I'm not easy to hide.
With the red shirt?
We wanted to talk about.
Just to give a brief overview with regards to the schedule, Conrail came into the county. We sat down, we got them to a point where I could bring something to the board. The board sent me back, the freeholder sent me back to push IEW and Conrail hard with you guys, concerns in mind. I know folks are concerned that we didn't come to talk to individuals. It's near impossible to do my job that way. I brought pictures this evening. I think the pictures definitely detail that I believe I made the right decision in recommending the closure of the road. There is no way, you mentioned the 17,000 vehicles that go through that. We've got the traffic going each way on Marne, and then you got the traffic coming in off of Creek. To try and alternate that into one lane over, they said 3-month period with that type of alternation, and they only being able to work between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., it would have been 5 months easy. And they have restrictions with regards to when they can drive those piles. Those piles are 140 feet long. They're going to be driving them, and hopefully you get it, so they'll be done by April 1st because they have a water restriction. They can only work, as you mentioned earlier, about DEP having jurisdiction with regards to their operation. So all those factors, and then ultimately my concern is for public safety, that I recommended to the Freeholder Board that the best way to do this is with the full closure. And like I said, I believe that the photographs demonstrate that, and we're still working out there's some emergency concerns that we're trying to work out with some of the emergency services folks, but I do believe that in the interest of public safety, that I made the correct recommendation.
Let's make it in a limited time.
If I can just add, Mike, when we talked, as I mentioned, we did absolutely toil over this, and as Mr. Brickley just explained, really pushed with regard to mitigating the damage, or not damage, but the road closure here from 3 months down to a shorter period. The thing that I'm worried about, Joe, is hearing about the damage to the curbs and the parking lots and people's lawn. I mean, is there a way, and have we been in touch with the railroad about these sorts of issues?
This is the first I've heard about it. If it's demonstrated, they did a video. Conrail, their contractor, routinely comes and does a pre-construction video. So they'll, if there are any allegations of damage or whatever, they'll be able to look at that. If it did happen post, they handle things like that all the time.
Can you, in the interim, go back to them and tell them that we've received complaints, of people's property being driven over and that sort of thing, just so that they can halt it before it gets potentially worse?
Excuse me, Freeholder Public Line.
You call me.
The damage isn't created by IEW.
Oh,
The
it's
damage
the motorists.
It's the motorists. It's all the motorists that come in. And Joe, we work on a per customer per diem. We need customers to come to us. You work at a job that they pay you a salary. I got to hustle to get these people into my business so that I can afford to live. Okay? Nobody pays my salary. All right? Whereas the county pays your salary because you got an education, you went to school, and you learn how to do this. Well, I get paid from everybody here that hires us for a job. One job at a time. Okay? But I also have 5 acres over here on that corner. 2 road fronts that I got to protect. And I have to replace that. You don't do it. Nobody else does it. It comes out of my pocket that I earn a living from. I don't want to afford that from something I didn't create for your decision down the road. Okay? So that's why I'm here. I'm not trying to be a mean guy. I just want you to understand that the people here, we work hard for our money.
Certainly.
Okay? Everybody
There's no
does in
doubt.
this room. But when we got to put it out for something we didn't do, like getting convicted of a crime, and you never were there.
We'll look into that.
So I hope you have the
Yes.
understanding and empathy
Oh,
for us, and
absolutely.
I thank you again for your time.
Well, thank you for taking the time.
Yes.
to
You're
come.
welcome.
Yes, absolutely. Sure. Freeholder Dowling?
Mike, this is a lousy decision that this board had to make. It's just the reality of it. You've heard the stories. This was called back over 2 meetings. We weren't satisfied with Brooklyn was telling us. We weren't satisfied with Conrail was telling us. It wasn't resolved. Brooklyn was just delivering a message about negotiations with us.
Didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. But everything everyone said before now, it really did happen. I mean, we worked hard on this, and we were stuck with a lousy decision, quite frankly. Ultimately, at some point in time, FRA could have just overruled us.
Who could overrule it?
Federal Rail.
Okay, that's what I had a feeling of.
I have to think of it from this perspective too. We voted for this, we voted to close this road, we tried to mitigate and cut down the timeline as much as possible. If that bridge failed, and we had a derailment on that bridge, and it was carrying something of a chemical nature, 3 weeks ain't nothing. Ma'am, it's my job. 3 weeks isn't anything. 3 months, 3 years to clear the contamination. This was a lousy decision. I do know our staff did a job because we pressed them on this, notifying the emergency services, every board of ed, New Jersey Transit, the best you can with the motorists, but the reality of it is there's 11,000 one way, 5,000 the other way. Quite frankly, a number of them are transit. We don't even have the ability to reach out to them if we were capable of doing it. So we're stuck with a rotten decision. You pay our salary.
Part of it.
Collectively, you pay our salary. And we made the best decision based on the information that was available and the cards that we had to play, knowing that FRA is just going to overrule us at some point in time anyway. If that bridge has to be replaced, it's a timber bridge, roughly how many years old? Approaching 100.
100 years old.
Approaching 100.
A little bit longer than
The
that.
bridge is going to fail. It's done. So, you know, I understand where you're coming from. I had our staff go over there and do a business survey, census, between the first time we met about it and the second time we met about it, due to the concern of the businesses that were over there. At the end of the day, we weren't left with a good decision because we were going to go back, and I'm laying it all out there. We wanted to go back and tell them we want the alternating traffic plan. We absolutely want it. They'd be there till Thanksgiving if we did the alternating plan.
Joe, I understand. I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
Over 12 years. So, you know, I ain't going to come here and start giving you a song and a dance. I know you're not going to do the same to us.
This just, it stinks.
Yeah.
This is
That's
why-
where we're at.
You
We're
know,
between a
usually
rock
when
and
we
a
do
hard
these-
place.
When we do these closures, we can typically find a way to mitigate, I'm sorry, man, go ahead.
I was talking to Charlie.
Typically, we can find a way to mitigate or get around it. You're at an intersection with T's that handles 17,000 cars a day.
Yeah.
It should. I mean, and the other piece of it is...
Sir, it
you
wasn't
said
like
yes.
that in 1968.
I know, it wasn't like that. And in 1968, that bridge was only 50 years old.
We had horse and wagon still going with the farms, but today, I got it.
You know, and the other piece of it is, yeah, you have the business in there. We're also displacing a lot of residents getting to and from work conveniently. I think there were 350, 360 homes that take that path directly each day. I mean, we're impacting a lot of people. That's why we're trying to do the best we can with the information.
That's why we're pleading to you for a low compensation, either to the Freds or Conrail or maybe a
You
pool.
mentioned that Conrad was taking videos of that area.
IW would do a pre-construction.
Do you know if they've taken any pictures of this property?
I'm sure they have.
Could you let him know if they have?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then maybe they'll be responsible for the damage to his parking lot and the lawn?
I don't.
As well as the
But if it's
park-
not made by
I took
IDW,
pictures.
They wouldn't be responsible. It's the public that's doing damage to our property. It's not the construction company themselves.
Well, I think it's at least worth asking the
And
question.
there's
Absolutely.
arguments to be made that they're responsible for the traffic control out there.
Yes.
Which
Oh, they
we're not
are,
controlling
that's what I was
out there.
questioning. Is AEW responsible for the traffic control over there right now? The
That's
engineer?
Right.
Yes,
think they
yeah,
would
we
be
will-
have exclusive
that would be left for the
control.
contractor. We don't have the responsibility for traffic control. Conrail, being the owner of the rail line, hires a contractor to manage all of that for them. They're not going to be engaged in traffic control themselves.
I think my 5 minutes is up.
That's okay. Mr. Gilletto, we're catered to you. Next, we have Charlene Weiss, and you're with Fresh Start Hair Salon.
Yep.
Do you have anything additional?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a couple questions about, did they actually, when they started off with this Conrail, did they float a bond with the county to not only protect the people and the roads in case of damage? Was there a bond floated in this
They've
issue?
indemnified us to the point. I don't know what you mean by people, but in terms of the roads, if that bridge needs to be replaced, our bridge, they're going to replace it.
Okay, that's what I was
We
wondering
have
about that.
a covenant with them. I can't say it's a bond, but we have a covenant with them. Conrail's not going anywhere. They signed a letter of indemnification that we...
And the other issue I had with, I wanted to reference with all the people coming down and they're not heeding to the signs is, it really is a super dangerous zone. I really feel unless you act and get us a police coverage at this point to help in the direction.
Have you
that there is.
contacted the Mount Laurel Police Department at all?
That's not their role. This is the...
They
She's
didn't know.
talking
I
about-
went down to Mount Laurel Township on the first day that I got notification by verbal on the phone after I first talked to the engineering department, before I got to talk to Mr. Brickley. When I called the roads, they didn't even know what I was talking about. The signs were out flashing. I said, I don't know. You need to tell me. I just see it says, only right now it says March 23rd it's closing. Do you know what this is about? And the first two people I spoke with didn't even have a clue in the county roads. I called the road department Monday morning.
I'm thinking that maybe you might want to go to Mount Laurel to the mayor, because you said there's already been 2 accidents there. Is it-
Well,
Hainsport.
On the Hainsport side, she's the Mount Laurel
Okay.
side.
right.
Mount Laurel.
We're divided, we're
So might
separated
use
now.
that as a precedent to ask for police presence from the 2 townships.
I don't have
I
police
don't-
coverage. H4 doesn't have police.
No state troopers.
I depend on state troopers, and that's my issue, but let Charlene finish.
But I don't see where it's my job to go to my township, which I do not reside in, sir. Excuse me?
I agree with you, it's not your responsibility. I want to go back to the contractor and see if...
Somebody has to take some responsibility for what's going on this road. I mean, I'm scared to death. I get to a point today, he's tired of me calling him because I have a front row seat, unfortunately. I'm in front of this big window and I keep seeing it and I keep going, all day long. And then I get so upset that I call him and I'm screaming on the phone and I go, I don't know what to do. I said, somebody's going to get killed.
Freeholders,
Somebody-
they're absolutely correct. I went down there myself, and been inspecting it almost daily, and the issue they have is people blow, it says road closed, and we can't get any bigger.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
detours are posted, but the folks, it's like, nah, maybe it's not really closed.
That's right.
And they drive down, and that was, one of the things that emergency services folks had said, well, what about, just leaving a lane open and marking emergency services? I'm like, folks aren't paying attention to the detour.
Not even
And the road closed. So expecting that my fear is that someone realizes that there is that emergency lane and says, well, I'm going to sneak through there in the middle of the night, and somebody's coming from the other side decides to do the same thing, and now we've got a head-on collision with now limited access. So I mean, they are absolutely. But as a county, we've notified the police departments. They're aware of it. The state police are. They would like the emergency access that I talked about, and that's not something that is really practical or safe. But as far as enforcing it, I agree. The folks come down and they get down there and they end up doing a U-turn in the middle of the road. That's what one of the accidents was. The other accident was, an inattentive driver at the Malvern Bridge. The going underneath the pass, it rolled the vehicle over.
But they're making U-turns in front of each other. They're jumping his curb. They're coming up the ground. I mean, and these are people that now they're annoyed because they had to turn around, that they thought they were maybe going to make it through to Creek Road. Either that's just not sinking into them, and they are just off the wall. One person in a truck, these trucks, we had big, huge trucks, tractor and trailers come through. I had 2 people almost hit in my parking lot trying to go into the business. I was like, I finally opened the cones because they were making so many K-turns, they almost were hitting our parked cars. I had a New Jersey Transit bus in there, the 413, in my little parking lot, trying to make it some kind of K-turn. But I want to know who's responsible. Who's going to take a responsibility for this?
Joe, can we see about the contractor putting maybe some people out there as traffic control, like with the signage or something like that?
You could put a barricade up and you can have someone that's actually asking people where they're going.
We would not be in compliance with WTCD if we did that. If we recommended that, you would not put signage, you wouldn't put a paddle guy or something out there in the line of traffic. That would not be considered a safe condition. That would be contrary to the detour, as well as all the signage, is set up in strict compliance with the MUTCD.
There's nothing else that we don't.
You can't, we have a saying, you can't engineer stupid. If these people want to go by and blow by these things and not pay attention, there's really nothing that we can do. We watch it. We have a camera there. We can see some of it from the Traffic Operations Center. And folks, it's just like they don't believe that, it's not really closed.
Well, I think we should be contacted.
May I make
To
a
let them know what's
suggestion?
going on.
Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
But you go right ahead.
They have a sign that says road closed at Creek Road. It's not closed at Creek Road. It's closed right at my sign, which is 300 yards from Creek Road. That's why they keep on coming down there.
So they think they can get through.
If I can make a suggestion that get somebody in there and take Creek Road off that sign.
Prior to Creek Road.
I will review that with my traffic engineer tomorrow. And
Something that says no access to
if
Creek
it's worthy,
Road.
that will definitely.
I do agree.
Okay. Ms. Weiss,
No.
have you addressed everything you need to?
The only last question I had was about the DEP. Is there a person, like we're trying to get names, do I contact the engineer for any questions that I have additional to do with like the DEP and things like that?
The DEP contact person is?
I tried to call the county and they didn't know.
No, that'd be in Trenton. Who would it be? What department in
Do we have
Trenton
anything
would that
to guide Ms. Weiss?
It's going to be land use. So you're going to get regulator du jour there if you don't have a permit number.
I have a job number from Conrail. John Conrail gave me a job number.
There would be a permit number. It would be, DEP would need a permit number, not a
Do you
job.
have that, Joe?
No, we can try and get it.
Could you please, to help Ms. Weiss? Okay, is that it, Ms. Weiss?
As far as I can see at this
Thank
point.
you. Thank you very much. Kelly Godala, you're with Aziza Restaurant?
Yes. I have just, my big issue that I have, Mike already touched base on our loss and all of that, and hopefully you could work something with us or try some way to get something back for us. But my issue also is a safety issue. I'm not feeling very safe here. I live right at Aziza's.
Okay.
And God forbid if my place were to catch on fire, or I need state police, they cannot get to me after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That work site is solid, barricaded off. No one can get by. The only reason that those emergency vehicles got by yesterday was because the workers were there to move the barricades with the crane. Otherwise, they would not have gotten to that car that was under the bridge. I have no police coverage. Hainesport we don't have our own police. We depend on the state police. When the state police have to come to me, they have to come from 295. Now, for them to get to me, they have to go and take that whole entire detour.
Out to Route 38.
Out to Route 38, down Hainesport Mount Laurel Road, and around. That's a huge detour if I have an emergency. Hainesport has one little fire truck. If I need fire help from Mount Laurel, they can't get to me either. It's the same vice versa for Mike and Charlene. My fire truck from Hainesport can't get to them. This is a big issue.
Yes, they would have to probably call
Now,
other locations.
Now
other
these-
municipalities to come.
this construction company, and I told you, I live right there. They only work until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Why is that? I need an answer, because that's ridiculous.
They're still giving me an agreement, I'm sure.
They work 6 hours a day, 9 to 6, 9 to 3.
They're there at 7 in the morning. I guarantee they're reconnoitering at 7 o'clock in the morning. They'd be going a month. They may not be doing it, they're doing the construction work, but they're reconnoitering at 7 in the morning.
Till
They'd
3
be
o'clock in
going
the
about-
afternoon, you still have 4 to 5 hours of daylight left. No wonder it's going to take them so long. And like Mike said, we make our living from people that you're blocking off. There has to be.
You got it down to 3 weeks.
There has to be.
It's not
I
going to
mean,
be 3 weeks.
Why can't they work more? If it's that much of an emergency for them to get the bridge done as a safety issue, and this is what everyone's telling us, it's a safety issue.
Yes.
Why aren't they working harder?
And why aren't they working weekends?
And they don't work
will be
weekends.
working this weekend.
Okay.
Because they're
Did you
against the
hear Joe
drive.
Brickley? Mr.
Joe,
Brickley?
did you
Yes,
say
ma'am.
they're working weekend?
They will, I spoke today, they will be working Saturday, Saturday. There's a noise ordinance issue on Sunday.
Did you hear that?
There's a noise ordinance
There's
issue
a
on
local
Sundays?
noise ordinance issue on Sunday.
In what town?
In what
Hainesport or
town?
Mount Laurel?
They weren't.
Almost all.
Because
Almost every
it's
municipality.
7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
On Sunday?
No, I believe it's more church-like.
I think it's 9 or 10 o'clock. Most
Yeah.
municipalities are 9 or 10 on Sunday for noise.
But they will be working Saturday.
All right, we'll have Mr. Brickley stay on top of that, their work hours, and inquire. All right?
Absolutely. And how about the safety issue with the police and the fire? I need to know that they can get to me from that side.
There are
And I have pictures. I took them before
She
I
took the
came here.
pictures and showed
It
me.
is solid. Nobody's getting through there.
It's a three-way barricade.
3-way.
Joe, were you going to add?
I've been discussing this with Director Drinker, and there is mutual aid set up, and we're having further discussions. If there was a major incident, we would set it up at it would obviously take a little bit of time, but if there was a major incident, we could pull the barricades, we could pull the Jersey barriers, but that's still being worked out at this point.
How long would it take to do that, though, Joe?
It take more time for our supervisor to get there, to be notified of it and get there than it would be actually pull a barrier. They're concrete jersey barriers, or 10-footers. I've got photographs here. But they, just look at
Joe, would they preclude, do you have a hydrant in front of your business?
It's down by the work site.
So they could still run line.
Oh, absolutely.
They could drop line. They could put fire out.
They just gotta get there.
If they can get there.
They can't get there.
I think the train firefighters are gonna drop a line.
No, but her concern is they can't get there.
They can't get there
They can't get through.
because the barriers, barricades closed.
They don't have to get through, the truck doesn't have to get through. They pull the line from the truck back to the hydrant, put it on the fire. They can put fire, they'll put the fire out.
Is there more than 1,000
All right,
feet?
we'll keep looking into it.
It's far. They can't do that.
We'll certainly notify
It's far. That can't happen.
our public safety department head. We have him look into it, okay? Well, thank you very much. Going to move on to Mr. Weaver, Dan Weaver.
Hi, I'm a resident of Eastport, as well as I'm an employee in the Eastport Industrial Park, and I'm here to support the folks in that world, as well as Eastport, for their troubles. Basically, this is an invisible tax to everybody that has to go. Payroll tax, it's like a payroll penalty that the businesses have to pay extra hours, people, hours, and it adds up 35 times, 35 times whatever the cost is, fuel costs, lost wages, lost business revenue. All this adds up, and it's an invisible tax to the public. And who's benefiting from this? Not they don't have to fork out extra money for this. This is an invisible tax to the public, and I just feel something better could have been done about this. I don't know if you guys did an impact study or had thought about the other folks that need transportation. I noticed there's bus stops along Martin Highway. Those people have to walk, God knows how many more miles just to get a bus. Did you guys think about that? That's a huge inconvenience for people who rely on public transportation. And what's your name, sir?
Joe Berkeley.
Joe. I'm getting word, I'm hearing about these accidents that are happening, and then you're talking about possibly controlling or increasing the preventing more traffic to go down, the wrong type of traffic, come down the road, big road.
I understand.
Pretty much controlling the traffic, is that requiring extra police to
We made notification below that. That's a local jurisdictional issue. We don't get involved with that.
Okay. We hear accidents are happening and all that stuff, so why can't you guys work something out where you can have the road open and allow the traffic to go through so these folks aren't losing their business? There's people suffering in that area that are losing business because of this roadblock, because the road's closed. So, that's pretty much, I'm speaking my piece on that. That's all I have to say. So, but thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Weaver. Okay, Mr. Patel.
Yeah, I have the convenience store at the gas station at one highway. Look like one day, I heard the 80% business down. And we pay a very high rent for gas station for all the companies and everything. I don't know how I can afford it, more than one. And I'm hoping this timeline is 3 weeks. I'm hoping they finish in 3 weeks. That's my question.
I appreciate you coming. Thank you very much. Okay, at this point, is there any other public comment?
Is there a deadline if they aren't finished in the 3 weeks because of this fish migration and the date that they picked to do this in?
That would be a good question for DEP. We don't have jurisdiction over fish migration. That's strictly resides.
Right, but they're not allowed to drill past that date we were instructed.
I understand that, but enforcement of that is taken care of by the state of New Jersey, not us.
No, I think her question is, are they bonded to finish at a certain time? Like, do they have to be done?
Right,
Do they have a contract with you to be finished at a certain date and a certain time?
Oh, I misunderstood your question. I'm sorry. Joe?
I don't know what the contractual is between IEW and Conrail, but they have a water requirement that they need to be out of the water by April 1st.
Right, but do they have a contractual agreement with you, Joe, the county, that they are going to be completed in 3 weeks, reopened for the 4 weeks?
The freeholders only authorize the closure for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Right.
What about the other 2 weeks?
We authorize it for 3 weeks and 2 weeks.
That's it.
And I made it very clear to them that, and that's why they're working on Saturday, because I told them I would not accept weather as an excuse for not meeting the window.
Because the train is still running, you know.
It will be, but it's going to stop.
Yeah, the train is still running. So yesterday, the day before, and today, we are all losing business, but yet Conrail's still making their business go.
They're still running.
They got 3 weeks, that's it. Right, well, at this point, I think we're going to close the public comment section, and we'll move on to comments by freeholders. Freeholder Bill Garth.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight and expressing your thoughts and opinions on this. I think that this really does give us something to take back and speak further with IEW and Conrail about. And, I think that we, obviously, Mr. Brickley's office and our offices should keep this line of communications open. If you have other suggestions along the way, please do reach out to us because, as mentioned, this is a difficult decision that none of us wanted to have to make. But, if we hadn't, they were coming in and doing it anyway. So, otherwise, I would like to say congratulations to Eve tonight on the appointment. We're looking forward to you starting out as our new county administrator. And again, best wishes and congratulations to Paul as he moves over to the college. I have just a couple of quick announcements. This coming Sunday, for those that don't know, the St. Patrick's Day Parade was postponed and it's going to be held this Sunday at 1 o'clock here in Mount Holly. And then this coming Monday, a number of us, I think we have now up to 19 elected women from Burlington County who are going to be hosting a Women's History Month event. Realtor Director O'Brien, Freeholder Schwartz, I think I see Township Committee woman from Delanco, Marlene Jass back there, and a number of others. We're going to be showing the film Iron-Jawed Angels, which is about the suffrage movement, which was spearheaded by Alice Paul from right here in Burlington County. The National Foundation for Women Legislators is hosting these events around the country, but right here in Burlington County, the birthplace of Alice Paul, we figured we'd do it big, so we'd welcome everyone to come out and join us for this nice event. It's going to be Monday evening, 6 o'clock at the Burlington County Library Theater in West Hampton, so I encourage you all to come out.
Thank you. Freeholder Schwartz.
Yes, again, I'd like to congratulate Eve, and I worked with Eve when she was head of this, so what's this minute? What is Paul Eve?
Well, no, my last meeting will be anyway.
That has been a pleasure, and I'm sure Eve will do a wonderful, wonderful job, so I'm really pleased with that. Also, I want to congratulate the warden. I don't know if I had a chance to do that publicly, but I've worked with her on a number of projects over at the jails, and I'm excited to see her in that new role. I know she'll do a wonderful job. Congratulations.
That's it. Great. All right. Freeholder Donnelly.
Very briefly. Eve, congratulations. This is all you expected. Because here it is.
Thank you.
No, we know Eve will do a wonderful job. She's been with the county for a number of years in a number of different roles, each of them progressively more responsibility. So we're excited to have you. That's all I have to recommend.
Okay. Freeholder Gargano.
He's off.
He's off.
Okay. All right. And I just want to take a minute also to congratulate Eve Coleman as county administrator. She's done a tremendous job at the health department. Big shoes to fill, but I know you'll do fabulous. Congratulations. I'd like to also mention about tomorrow night is our Outstanding Women Awards Dinner.
It's a great way to honor so many women in Burlington County, giving a lot of their talents and energy, and in serving their community and improving the lives of others. So I hope I get to see many of you here tonight, also tomorrow night. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Second. Motion by Freeholder Donnelly, second by Freeholder Schwartz. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.